Here we go. Here we go. It's another edition of First 11, 11 minutes or less with the Hall of Famer, U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer Bruce Murray. It is DC United on the road against the New York Red Bulls. Also news today, DC United will be taking on the Charleston Battery May 6th, U.S. Open Cup action. Important to support the team. Remember last year when the Open Cup controversy about MLS teams were not going to be in the Open Cup, and they talked about, not getting the crowds. So I think it's important for soccer supporters to show up May 6th because we want this tournament. We love this tournament. Bruce Murray, your experience with the tournament?
We actually won the Amateur Cup with an amateur team here in town called the Spartans, the Greeks. The Greek teams had representatives. We crashed out of the Open Cup, but in the Amateur Cup we did quite well. But the other thing about this particular event is it's like the FA Cup. Anything's possible, right? Anything's possible, and I think if you look at right down our bench and go to the very prominent person on the bench. His name is Troy Lesane, our head coach, and the Charleston Battery coming. That is, that's going to be mixed emotions for him because that's really where his professional career was.
Great point. But again, I think it's important because it became such a controversy. Wait a minute, the MLS side should be in the U.S. Open Cup. But I did understand Commissioner Garber's counter-argument, noting that there were a lot of small crowds, and because of that, you're playing at alternate venues. So I think if we want to make the U.S. Open Cup continue to be a thriving competition, it's important for supporters of the game to get out. So that's May 6th at Audi Field.
You're absolutely right, Dave. That is a great point, because if you want it, then you got to go out and you got to put your money where your mouth is, and that's the bottom line.
Well, no, and that's just it. And if you don't want it, if you don't want to pay for it, you don't want to show up, then I don't think you can complain when Commissioner Garber says, we don't need to be in that competition, because it does come down to it's not worth it if only 1,000 people are showing up. So we look forward to May 6th against the Charleston Battery and the U.S. Open Cup. All right, DC United, New York Red Bulls. It was a loss last week to FC Cincinnati, but a recovery. What would you describe it as this DC United team transitions from losing 6-1? Are we getting closer to getting, should we say, back on track, or how does Dr. Bruce Murray diagnosed the situation?
We broke our leg, and then it was a compound fracture. When it was 6-1 down, in San Jose, and now all of a sudden, in the second half, we found our footing the other day, and we were playing some wonderful football for 30 minutes. We were, foot on the gas. Couldn't quite put it away. So if you look at things like I do in thirds, 8 games in, if you can steal a couple of points in that first third of games, then, and your team is now right where you need it to be, you're playing good football, and now you're learning how to win points versus performances. Like, even if the performances aren't as good, then you're a team that's got, you really can't hit panic buttons until you're done with the second third and you're not putting something together on the field. What I saw in the second half was really good football.
Panic is a good thing to point out, because it's hard not to get a little squeamish if there's a 4-1 loss, a 6-1 loss. But when we're talking, as we talk here in April, you start panicking, and this is if you're a player in the locker room and senses that the coach is panicky, that suddenly it's all change. Often that doesn't end well. Then it becomes a scramble. You do have to adjust things, but there has to be belief in what you were doing and what you sold to the players at the start of the season.
That's right, Dave. And I back Troy Lesane. I just love the way he goes about his business. He never talks about laying into the players, and that he's the kind of guy that's willing. He's so honest to me as a coach that I know he gives it to people if he has to, and as a group, he wants to hear from the group. What's better than a player? Now, everyone can talk about the old school days and Alex Ferguson and the hairdryer speeches. Don't think that doesn't happen occasionally, because it does. No coach survives without the ability to have that in his arsenal. Okay. But this coach also lets players have a little bit of say, and that makes players feel good, and players that feel good play good.
All right. But finishing, scoring goals, DC United needs more than Benteke. So that was your specialty, scoring goals. How does it happen?
When Lionel Messi goes in to a dribble and just starts sprinting at people with the ball, you can ask him. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He just works off the situation. If you watch Pirani the other day, he ran at people again like he did last year, and he hasn't been doing that this year. And so we had Peglo, Pirani, we had guys just running at people with the ball. And what that does is it completely unbalances defenses. It allows them to get off of Benteke, right, as the primary mark. And Benteke becomes mobile. Benteke can't do anything in this league if he's not mobile because he's just a target.
Right. So the individual brilliance is then important when you're talking about what a Peglo, what a Pirani can bring. Because if the player, as he's dribbling, doesn't know what he's going to do, the defender doesn't know.
Absolutely. And that's the key. That's the key to it, is just to make sure that you're willing to go and take on that risk. And it's almost like somebody from the bench or somebody hit a switch and said, hey, guys, you know what? Just go. Just go. Pretend you're 11 years old again and you're in your club team and you're the best player on the field. Go for it. And that's what it looked like, Dave. It really did for 35 minutes.
And that has to be repeated against the Red Bulls?
Yeah, it does. It does. But at the same time, defensively, I said it the other day, we still have to squeeze in. We have to bring one, that second center midfielder back. We have to bring the weak-sided midfielder in so that we end up with that 3-man middle becomes a 6-man middle and slows them down because, again, Red Bull's probably one of the better teams on the fast break. Our league is a fast break league. There's no question about it.
The prescription of Dr. Bruce Murray. We just elevated you to doctor status. It is First 11. We appreciate the time. We know your time is valuable, so that's why we like to do it in 11 minutes or less. DC United, New York Red Bulls, Saturday. We start at 7:15 on iHeartRadio, iHeart app. It's free. Please download it, and we look forward to Saturday. Again, for Bruce Murray, I'm Dave Johnson. And yeah, thanks for the time. 11 minutes or less.